Okay, Michelle from Seams Like Quilting here, following up on the scrap stuff. My bowl is just about empty. Ha ha ha. So what's left in the bowl? Well, I have these half square triangles that I made for the Love Ink sample. These are the leftovers. And there's enough of them to do something with. I think I'll make like a pillow top or something. So I'm keeping these. These are left over from my mirror ball project. If you've been following the page, you saw that. I talked about that a little bit. Again, not for the shop. These are not shop fabrics. These are shop fabrics. These are not shop fabrics. But I still really like these little scraps, so I'll do something with these. Maybe I'll, I don't know, put some stuff around them and turn them into like glasses case or a little bag or I don't know, something. But it's too good to go. And then the rest of what's in here is the rest of these charm packs that we were given as samples and that I was using to kind of like play around with and do little tutorials about. So I'll do something with these. I don't want to cut them up into 2.5-inch squares, so I'm going to leave them in here for now. But that is the gist of what I'm leaving in there. I have a whole bag set aside of stuff I'm taking back to the shop. These are the print strips that I will keep. There's shop fabric in here, but usually in the big scrap basket that we have, where we have people pick out scraps for, they want bigger chunks than strips, and the strips tend to get really these skinny little strips tend to get really raggedy looking in the scrap basket. So I'm going to keep these and put these in with my strip scraps. Then these are the fabrics that I'm going to refold and put back into my stash. A lot of these are leftover from quilt backs, so they're larger cuts. That's why they're so big. And then this is the pile of stuff that I'm going to cut up into 2.5-inch squares. And what I'm going to end up doing with these is I'll get as many 2.5-inch squares out of it as I can. And then for this, I'll cut it into a 2.5-inch strip, put the leftover like strip into my strip scraps, and then I'll cut as many 2.5-inch squares, and then sometimes you just got to let the remainder go. So I'm going to cut through these. There's some pressing to do, and I found this bag of squares. Most of them look 2.5 inches. Some of them are 3. So I'll measure these and just make sure, and then I'll get them into my bin of squares. But what I wanted to show you guys, so I'll get all of that done. But that's it. This is all the scrap stuff that's going in the scrap for now. Everything else is either going back into the stash or going into the shop scraps. But for now, what I wanted to do is I actually wanted to show you how I fold fabric so that it's all the same size. So I fold fabric no matter, I can fold between a straight or fat quarter, well, even an eighth you can do, and then all the way up to maybe 2 or 3 yards you can do into these little bundles that are like 6 inches ish by 5 inches ish. And then this is how I store fabric. I have a bunch of CD racks from Target, and then I store fabric like this. So I want all of the fabric that's going in my stash to get folded to the same size. So I thought I'd show you how I do that. This was a technique that I was taught at a retreat by a good friend named Colby. Hi, Colby. And I think it comes from, I don't remember the person's name on YouTube. I will tag them if I find them. But this is, so I'm stealing this technique right now so you can see that. But so this right here, this piece of fabric is full width, edge to edge. And it is a piece that it's 12.5 inches wide. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to fold it into half on the selvage. And then I'm going to fold the selvage so it's folded into quarters. And then I'm going to line it up and I'm going to fold it at the 9-inch mark. So what you want to do is try to get this to the 9-inch and then the 18-inch and then the 9-inch. So you can take 36 fold in half to 18, 18 fold in half is 9. When I fold it to the 9-inch mark, so this now is 9 inches this way, right? So I folded that, and then I'm going to take that 9 inches and I'm going to fold it in half. So you see how that makes the perfect little bundle. So this piece of fabric that is like 15 inches wide and this piece of fabric that is 12 and a half inches wide now sit perfectly together as the same size. And I can do that. You can do that with just about any size. So here's a piece. Gosh, this is, what's this going to be, a whole yard? Okay, so I didn't use this when I made the D&D sample. So this is perfect. This is whole yard. So I'm going to do exactly the same thing. I'm going to fold it toward the selvage. So fold it in half. Then I'm going to fold that toward that fold in half that way. So now it's in quarters. Okay. And now I'm going to kind of mark. I'm going to set it down because you don't want to necessarily always eyeball this. There's my halfway, 18 inches. Here's my 9 inches. And then fold it in half one more time. And boom, perfectly same size. So now we have these pieces and bam, it's gonna sit on the shelf, same size. Now I do have these color coded on my stash, so I'm just gonna fold them, stack them, and then I will recolor code them. But I can do this even with fabric that is not salvage to salvage. So like, for example, this piece is a strip off of a scrap off of backing that I did. And I don't have salvage width on this. It's the length of fabric that I have here. So I'm going to get it, because salvage to salvage is 44-ish inches. So I'm going to get this down to that 44, and then the 22, and then the 11, which is that half thing here. So that's, there we go. And then we do that. But then I want to do it, then I want to do the size. We're going to get this to 4.5. There we go. And then we do our half. We do our half. I have to remath that. But basically, there you go. Same exact size. The fold's in a different spot, but it's the same exact size. And that's how you do that technique. Actually, what happened is I need this to be like this. And then I can fold it in half. And then I fold it in half again. And there we be. It's exactly the same size. And it sits right together with the rest. So that's how I handle those long skinny scraps. And if I've got multiple pieces in the same fabric, I'm going to tuck them together inside that fold so that I end up with one nice folded piece. When I'm sorting through my stash to use stuff, you can really tell basically how much is there. And so it's really kind of a nice way, because it's a nice way to store scraps. It works really, or to store fabric, it works really, really well for me. So that's how I do that. So I'm going to fold those up, put those back in the stash, and then cut these up and get my strips put away, and that'll be done. So I probably have 45 minutes to do all of that. And that's my hour of scrap management. Good luck, everybody.